As many of you know, police have been working tirelessly over the past 12 months to find Bridget Simmonds since she was reported missing to us on the 6th of March last year. We can now confirm that we have located a body. Of course, this news is a tragedy for Bridget's family, and our heartfelt sympathies go out to them. Bridget was a loved mum, sister and daughter and friend to many people. I'm adamant there's other people out there that know what happened to Bridget, and if anybody can help us, we certainly want to hear from them.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, a 57-year-old man has been charged with the murder of Bridget Simmonds, who was a woman who went missing over a year ago in my hometown of Whangārei. So I wanted to share this story with you, especially because it is very close to home. Bridget was 42 when she disappeared. On the night before she went missing, she was staying with her mum in Kirikiri, which is just an hour north of Whangārei. On the 23rd, her mum dropped her off at the Countdown in Regent in Whangārei between 12:30 and 1 p.m. And from that point on, she was never seen again. The last known footage of Bridget was on CCTV in Kirikiri as she was taking money out of an ATM machine. When her mother dropped her off at the Countdown, she was wearing a dark coloured singlet and black jeans. On March the 6th, 2019, her family launched a missing person inquiry. It is believed that she may have caught a taxi to a person that she knows home, which is in Parakao, which is about 20 minutes drive west of Whangārei. Now this is a very remote area. I wouldn't even describe it as a village. There's basically just like a store, a cafe, and that's it, in the middle of nowhere. For a year, no one knew what had happened to Bridget. She was known to be, I don't want to say a drifter, but somebody who was a free spirit. She was known to hitchhike, and it wasn't odd for her to go off the radar every now and then. She had been living in the Otaika accommodation cabins, which is like a holiday park, which also has accommodation that people can rent long term if they wish. Now, Bridget was known to be a lovely person, very funny, and known for her very cheeky laugh. She was a mother of 2 children, and her son was suffering from leukemia, and it was not unusual for Bridget to hitchhike down to Auckland to see her son each week. Now, leading up just before her disappearance, she had recently been made evicted by the owner of the accommodation park due to the company that Bridget had been keeping. And she had actually been assaulted not that long before she disappeared. So at that point you could say that her life was somewhat high risk. It wasn't until February 2020 that an appeal was launched to find out more information about Bridget's disappearance. And then suddenly information came to light that made the police think that foul play had taken place. Police must have been tipped off about the area of Parakao because they started to zero in on various properties in this very remote area. In fact, one of the properties belonged to a former partner of Bridget's where she'd stayed and actually lived, I think, before her disappearance. It wasn't long before at least 50 officers were searching in paddocks and rubbish piles, and even divers came out searching various water areas. A body was finally discovered in what Detective Senior Sergeant John Clayton described as extremely difficult excavation. And I'm wondering if that means or alludes to the fact of not only a murder, but did something happen to Bridget's body after the case? Now, as I mentioned earlier, in the weeks and days just before Bridget went missing, police had come to visit where she was living at the Otaika accommodation park, basically to sort out altercations that were going on. During one of these assaults, a man had actually tried to gouge one of Bridget's eyes out and her wrist had been broken. The owner of the holiday park basically thinks that the people that Bridget was spending time with may be the ones behind her murder, or at least her disappearance. On the 22nd of June, the 57-year-old man charged with Bridget's murder lost his name suppression. Samuel Paul was not only charged with Bridget's murder, but he was also charged with causing her grievous bodily harm, as well as 3 counts of injuring another woman between December 2016 and March 2017, plus 1 charge of cannabis possession. He was remanded in custody to appear in the High Court in Whangārei, July 9th. So not much else is known about the case other than that, but it is extremely sad, but I guess somewhat a relief for Bridget's family to find out finally what happened to her. I will bring you more details about this case and what led to Bridget's disappearance and what will be happening with Samuel Paul after July 9th.
I spoke to Bridget's mum personally yesterday. She was very pleased that we've got to this point, and we're hoping that this will bring some closure to the family.
As always, guys, thanks for watching and stay safe. If you or someone you know is experiencing violence and you live in New Zealand, then please call 111 for immediate assistance. You can also call some other agencies in New Zealand which can provide advice, support, emergency housing, personal safety planning, or advocacy. I've put the contacts to these organisations in the description below.